toward her bedroom, her favorite stuffed elephant tucked under her arm. The old house in Detroit's east side always made sounds at night, but something felt different tonight. Her stepmother Patricia had been acting strange all day, following her around with cold eyes and that fake smile she used when Daddy was around. "Naya, come here for a minute," Patricia called from the top of the stairs, her voice sweet like honey but with something sharp underneath. Naya stopped halfway up the wooden steps. The hallway light cast long shadows, and Patricia's face looked different in the dim glow. Her usually perfect hair was messy, and her hands were shaking slightly. "What is it, Miss Pat?" Naya asked, using the respectful name her father had taught her to use. Patricia stepped closer, and Naya could smell the wine on her breath. This was the third night this week that Patricia had been drinking after Daddy left for his night shift at the auto plant. "I need to talk to you about something important," Patricia said, reaching out her hand. "Come up here." Something in Patricia's voice made Naya's stomach twist. She had learned to read people's faces since her mama died 2 years ago. Mama used to tell her, "Baby girl, watch people's eyes. They tell you everything you need to know." Patricia's eyes looked angry and scared at the same time. "Can we talk tomorrow?" "I'm really tired," Naya said, taking a small step backward. "No," Patricia's voice got sharp. "Now." Naya climbed 2 more steps, her heart beating fast. When she reached the top, Patricia grabbed her arm tight, too tight. "Listen to me carefully," Patricia whispered, her face close to Naya's. "Your father thinks you're perfect, but I know what you really are. You're nothing but trouble. Ever since I married your father, you've been trying to turn him against me." "I haven't done anything wrong," Naya said, her voice small and scared. "Don't lie to me." Patricia's grip got tighter. "I see how you look at me. I see how you run to him every time I try to discipline you. Well, I'm tired of it." Naya tried to pull away, but Patricia's hand was like a steel trap around her thin arm. "Miss Pat, you're hurting me," Naya whispered. Patricia's eyes got a strange look, like she was seeing something that wasn't there. "Your mother is gone, little girl. And your father won't always be here to protect you. It's just you and me now." Before Naya could say anything else, Patricia's other hand shot out and pushed her hard in the chest. Naya felt herself falling backward, her feet leaving the top step. Time seemed to slow down as she tumbled down the wooden stairs, her body hitting each step with a painful thud. She landed hard at the bottom, her left arm twisted under her body, pain shooting through her shoulder and back. Stars danced in front of her eyes, and she could taste blood in her mouth where she had bitten her tongue. Above her, Patricia walked slowly down the stairs, her face calm now, like nothing had happened. "Oh my goodness, Naya. What happened? Did you fall?" Patricia called out loudly, but her voice sounded fake, like she was acting in a play. Naya tried to sit up, but the pain in her arm was too much. She looked up at Patricia, who was now kneeling beside her with a concerned expression that didn't match the coldness in her eyes. I Naya started to say, but Patricia put her finger to her lips. "Shh, baby. Don't try to talk. You fell down the stairs. These old stairs are so dangerous. I've been telling your father we need to fix them." Naya stared at her stepmother in shock. Patricia was lying. She hadn't fallen, she had been pushed. But who would believe an 8-year-old girl over a grown woman? "I'm going to call 911, Patricia said, pulling out her phone. But before she dialed, she leaned down close to Naya's ear and whispered something that made Naya's blood turn cold. "I made it look like an accident," Patricia breathed, her voice so low only Naya could hear. "And if you ever tell anyone different, next time will be worse." Then Patricia stood up and dialed 911, her voice suddenly full of panic and concern. "Hello? Yes, I need an ambulance. My stepdaughter fell down the stairs. Please hurry, she's hurt badly." As Naya lay on the cold floor, pain shooting through her body, she realized that her life had just changed forever. The woman her father had married, the woman who was supposed to take care of her, had just tried to hurt her on purpose. And now she was pretending to be the worried parent. Naya closed her eyes and thought about her mama. Before she died, Mama had made her promise to be strong, to be brave, and to never let anyone make her feel small. But right now, lying on the floor with her arm throbbing and her stepmother's threat ringing in her ears, Naya felt smaller than she ever had in her life. The sound of sirens grew louder outside, and Patricia knelt down again, this time speaking loud enough for the neighbors to hear. "Stay with me, sweetheart. Help is coming. Everything's going to be okay." But Naya knew that nothing was going to be okay. Not anymore. The bright lights of Detroit General Hospital hurt Naya's eyes as the paramedics wheeled her through the emergency room doors. Her left arm was in a temporary sling, and every bump in the gurney sent pain shooting through her shoulder. Patricia walked beside her, holding her right hand and speaking in that fake worried voice. "The doctor will take good care of you, baby," Patricia said loud enough for everyone to hear. "Daddy will be here as soon as he can get off work." Naya wanted to pull her hand away from Patricia's grip, but she was too weak and scared. Every time she looked at her stepmother's face, she saw that cold look from the top of the stairs and heard those whispered words, "I made it look like an accident." A tall African-American doctor with kind eyes and natural hair pulled back in a neat bun approached their gurney. Her badge read Dr. Sarah Mitchell. "Hello there, sweetheart," Dr. Mitchell said gently to Naya. "I'm Dr. Mitchell and I'm going to take care of you tonight. Can you tell me your name?" "Naya Thompson," she whispered, her voice hoarse from crying. Dr. Mitchell smiled. "That's a beautiful name. Naya, I need to ask you some questions about what happened, okay?" Patricia stepped forward quickly. "Doctor, she fell down our stairs at home. The poor thing was going up to bed and must have tripped. Our house is old and those stairs have always been a problem." Dr. Mitchell nodded but kept her eyes on Naya. "Naya, can you tell me in your own words what happened?" Naya looked at Patricia, who was squeezing her hand tighter now. She remembered the threat. "If you ever tell anyone different, next time will be worse." I fell," Naya whispered, the lie tasting bitter in her mouth. Dr. Mitchell studied Naya's face carefully. She had been treating children for 15 years, and something about this case didn't feel right. The little girl seemed scared of the woman who claimed to be her concerned stepmother. "Okay, Naya. We're going to take some x-rays of your arm and shoulder to make sure everything is healing properly. Mrs. Thompson, could I speak with you privately for a moment?" Patricia's grip tightened even more on Naya's hand. "I'd rather stay with her. She's been through so much trauma." "It'll just be for a few minutes," Dr. Mitchell insisted. "The nurses will stay with Naya." Reluctantly, Patricia let go of Naya's hand and followed Dr. Mitchell to a quiet corner of the emergency room. "Mrs. Thompson, can you walk me through exactly what happened tonight?" Dr. Mitchell asked. Patricia's story came out smooth and practiced. "I was in the kitchen cleaning up after dinner when I heard this terrible noise. I ran to the stairs and found her at the bottom. She must have been carrying her stuffed animal and tripped. You know how children can be careless on stairs." Dr. Mitchell made notes on her chart. "Was anyone else home?" "No, my husband Robert is at work. He does the night shift at the Ford plant. I called him and he's on his way." "Has Naya had any other accidents recently? Any other falls or injuries?" Patricia's eyes flashed with annoyance for just a second before she put her worried expression back on. "No, nothing like this. She's usually very careful. This house we live in, it belonged to my husband's first wife. Some of the stairs are loose and we keep meaning to fix them." Dr. Mitchell nodded, but something about the way Patricia talked about Naya bothered her. There was no real warmth in her voice, even when she was trying to sound caring. Meanwhile, back at Naya's bedside, a gentle nurse named Rosa was checking her temperature and blood pressure. "How are you feeling, sweetheart?" Rosa asked in a soft voice. "My arm hurts," Naya said. "I know, baby. The doctor is going to give you something for the pain." "Is that lady really your mama?" Naya's eyes filled with tears. "She's my stepmother. My real mama died when I was 6. Rosa's expression softened. "I'm sorry to hear that, honey. Losing your mama is real hard." "She was the best mama in the world," Naya whispered. "She used to braid my hair every morning before school and sing to me when I was scared." "What kind of songs did she sing?" "Church songs mostly. Her favorite was Amazing Grace. She said no matter what happened in life, Grace would always find a way to make things better." Rosa smiled. "Your mama sounds like she was a wise woman." "She was. She always told me to tell the truth no matter what. But sometimes..." Naya's voice trailed off. "Sometimes what, baby?" Naya looked around to make sure Patricia wasn't coming back. "Sometimes telling the truth can get you in more trouble." Rosa sat down in the chair next to Naya's bed. "Can you tell me what you mean by that?" Before Naya could answer, Patricia returned with Dr. Mitchell. Patricia immediately moved to Naya's side and started stroking her hair. "How's my poor baby doing?" Patricia asked. Dr. Mitchell checked Naya's x-rays on the computer screen. "The good news is that her arm isn't broken, but she has a bad sprain in her shoulder and some bruising on her back and ribs. She's going to be sore for a while." "Thank goodness it's not worse," Patricia said. "When can she come home?" "We'd like to keep her overnight for observation. Falls downstairs can sometimes cause injuries that don't show up right away." Patricia's face tightened. "Is that really necessary? I can watch her at home." "It's standard procedure, Mrs. Thompson. Better to be safe." Just then, a man's voice called out from the emergency room entrance. "Where's my daughter? Where's Naya?" Naya's face lit up for the first time all night. "Daddy?" Robert Thompson hurried over to the bed. He was a tall, strong man with calloused hands from his work at the auto plant. His face was full of worry and love as he looked at his little girl. "Baby girl, what happened? Are you okay?" He gently touched her face. "I fell down the stairs, Daddy," Naya said, sticking to the story Patricia had created. Robert turned to Patricia. "How did this happen, Pat? I thought you were watching her." "I was in the kitchen, honey. You know how those old stairs are. I've been telling you we need to fix them." Robert nodded, but Naya could see doubt in his eyes. Her father was a smart man, even if he worked long hours and was tired most of the time. Dr. Mitchell explained Naya's injuries to Robert and told him about keeping her overnight. Unlike Patricia, Robert immediately agreed. "Whatever she needs, doctor. I'll stay here with her tonight." "Oh, Robert, you have to work tomorrow," Patricia said quickly. "I can stay with her." "No," Robert said firmly. "She's my daughter. I'll stay." Naya felt a warm feeling spread through her chest. Even hurt and scared, she felt safer with her daddy there. As the night went on, Robert sat beside Naya's hospital bed, holding her good hand and telling her stories about when her mama was alive. Patricia sat in the corner, checking her phone and looking annoyed. But Naya couldn't shake the memory of falling down those stairs and Patricia's whispered threat. She wanted to tell her father the truth, but she was scared of what Patricia might do if she found out. As she drifted off to sleep, Naya made a silent promise to her mama's memory. She would find a way to tell the truth no matter how scared she was. Her mama had always said that the truth had power, and that good people would help her if she was brave enough to ask. She just had to figure out how. The next morning, Naya was released from the hospital with her arm in a proper sling and strict instructions to rest. Robert had taken the day off work to be with her, which made Patricia's smile look even more fake than usual. "I can take care of her, honey," Patricia said as they walked to the car. "You shouldn't miss work because of an accident." "My daughter comes first," Robert replied, helping Naya into the back seat. "The plant will understand." As they drove through their Detroit neighborhood, Naya looked out the window at the familiar houses. Most of them were old but well-kept, with small front porches and gardens where people grew vegetables and flowers. Her favorite house belonged to Mrs. Grace Williams, an elderly black woman who lived 2 doors down from them. Mrs. Grace had been Naya's mama's best friend, and after Mama died, she always made sure to wave at Naya when she walked to school. Sometimes she would give Naya homemade cookies or help her with homework when Daddy was working late and Patricia was too busy with her own things. "Daddy, can I sit on the front porch for a little while?" Naya asked when they got home. "The fresh air might help me feel better." Patricia started to object, but Robert nodded. "That's a good idea, baby girl. Just don't move around too much with that sling." Patricia's face showed irritation for just a moment before she covered it with her fake smile. "I'll make you some lunch, sweetheart." Naya settled into the old porch swing her daddy had hung for her mama years ago. The morning sun felt good on her face, and she could smell the roses that Mrs. Grace grew in her front yard. After about 10 minutes, Mrs. Grace appeared on her own porch, watering her plants. When she saw Naya, her face filled with concern. "Child, what happened to your arm?" Mrs. Grace called out, setting down her watering can. "I fell down the stairs," Naya replied, the lie still tasting wrong in her mouth. Mrs. Grace's expression changed. She had been a school teacher for 40 years before she retired, and she knew when children weren't telling the whole truth. She walked over to Naya's porch, moving slowly on her cane. "May I sit with you for a spell?" Mrs. Grace asked. Naya nodded, scooting over to make room on the swing. Mrs. Grace settled beside her with a soft groan. "These old bones don't move like they used to. Now tell me again how you hurt your arm." "I fell down our stairs last night," Naya repeated. Mrs. Grace studied her carefully. "Those stairs been in your house since your mama and daddy moved in 8 years ago. You've been running up and down them since you could walk. Seems strange you'd fall now." Naya looked down at her hands. She wanted to tell Mrs. Grace the truth so badly, but Patricia's threat echoed in her mind. "Sometimes accidents just happen," Naya said quietly. Mrs. Grace was quiet for a long moment, gently rocking the swing back and forth. "You know, your mama used to sit right here with me when she was worried about something. She'd tell me that secrets could eat a person up from the inside if they held onto them too long." "Mama said that?" "She sure did. She also said that telling the truth to the right person could set you free, even if it was scary at first." Naya felt tears starting to form in her eyes. What if telling the truth makes things worse? Mrs. Grace put her arm around Naya's shoulders, being careful of the sling. Baby girl, what could be worse than living with a lie that's hurting you? Before Naya could answer, Patricia appeared in the doorway. Naya, your lunch is ready, Patricia called out, her voice sweet but her eyes cold as they looked at Mrs. Grace. Thank you, Mrs. Grace, Naya said, standing up slowly. Anytime, child. You know where to find me if you need to talk. As Naya walked toward the house, she heard Patricia speaking to Mrs. Grace in a voice that wasn't quite as sweet as before. Thank you for checking on her, Mrs. Williams, but she needs her rest. The doctor said too much excitement could slow her healing. Of course, Mrs. Grace replied. I'm just glad she's all right. Falls can be so dangerous. Yes, they can be. Especially when old houses have stairs that need repair. Mrs. Grace's eyes narrowed slightly. Funny thing about those stairs, though. Robert just fixed them last month. I remember because he borrowed my drill. Patricia's fake smile slipped for just a moment. Well, I guess one loose board is all it takes. I guess so, Mrs. Grace said, but her tone suggested she didn't believe it. Inside the house, Patricia set a peanut butter sandwich in front of Naya, but her movements were sharp and angry. What were you and that nosy old woman talking about? Patricia asked. Nothing really. She just asked how I got hurt. And what did you tell her? That I fell down the stairs. Patricia leaned down close to Naya's face. Good. And that's all you told her, right? Naya nodded, but her hands were shaking. Because Mrs. Williams likes to gossip, and we don't want people getting the wrong idea about what happened, do we? No, ma'am. Patricia straightened up and smiled her fake smile again. Good girl. Now eat your lunch and then take a nap. I don't want your father thinking I'm not taking good care of you. That afternoon, while Patricia was at the store and Robert was doing yard work, Naya sat by her bedroom window, which faced Mrs. Grace's house. She watched the older woman working in her garden, pulling weeds and talking to her flowers like they were old friends. Naya thought about what Mrs. Grace had said about secrets eating a person up from the inside. She could feel it happening already. The lie was like a heavy rock in her stomach, making it hard to eat or sleep. She also thought about what her mama used to tell her. Baby girl, there are angels walking around on earth, disguised as regular people. But you can recognize them because they show up exactly when you need them most. Looking at Mrs. Grace's kind face as she tended her garden, Naya wondered if maybe her mama had sent her an angel. As the sun started to set, Naya made a decision. Tomorrow, when Patricia went to her book club meeting like she did every Thursday afternoon, Naya would find a way to talk to Mrs. Grace alone. She would tell her the truth about what really happened on those stairs. Her mama had always said that the truth had power, and Naya was ready to find out what that meant. Thursday afternoon couldn't come fast enough for Naya. She spent the morning trying to act normal while Patricia fussed around the house, cleaning things that were already clean and checking on Naya every few minutes. Are you sure you'll be all right while I'm at book club? Patricia asked for the third time, but her voice didn't sound worried. It sounded like she was asking just to look good. I'll be fine, Naya said from the couch where she was supposed to be resting. Daddy will be home from work soon anyway. Right. Well, don't answer the door for anyone and don't go outside. You need to rest that shoulder. As soon as Patricia's car pulled out of the driveway, Naya carefully made her way to the front porch. Her shoulder was still sore, but she was determined. Mrs. Grace was sitting on her own porch, reading a book and drinking sweet tea from a tall glass. Well, hello there, sugar, Mrs. Grace called out when she saw Naya. How are you feeling today? Mrs. Grace, can I talk to you about something important? Naya asked, her voice shaking a little. Mrs. Grace set down her book and looked at Naya carefully. Of course, baby. Come on over here. Naya walked slowly to Mrs. Grace's porch and sat down in the wicker chair next to her. What's on your mind, child? Naya took a deep breath, thinking about her mama and trying to find courage. Mrs. Grace, what I told you about falling down the stairs, that wasn't the whole truth. Mrs. Grace leaned forward, her eyes full of concern. Tell me what really happened, baby girl. Miss Pat, she pushed me. The words came out in a rush and Naya started crying. She was mad at me and she grabbed my arm tight and then she pushed me down the stairs. And after I fell, she whispered to me that she made it look like an accident. Mrs. Grace's face went through several emotions, shock, anger, and then a fierce protectiveness that reminded Naya of her mama. Are you sure that's what happened, Naya? This is very serious. I'm sure. I've been having nightmares about it every night. And she told me if I ever told anyone, next time would be worse. Mrs. Grace was quiet for a moment, and Naya was scared she didn't believe her. But then Mrs. Grace reached out and took her good hand. "Thank you for telling me the truth, sweetheart. That took a lot of courage." "You believe me?" "I believe you. And I'm going to help you, but we need to do this the right way." "Have you told your daddy?" Naya shook her head. "I'm scared he won't believe me. He loves Miss Pat and she's always nice when he's around." Mrs. Grace nodded thoughtfully. "Your daddy loves you more than anything in this world. But you're right that we need to be careful about how we tell him." "What should I do?" "First, I want you to write down everything that happened that night, exactly as you remember it. Can you do that?" "Yes, ma'am." "Then we're going to call someone who can help make sure you're safe." Mrs. Grace went inside and came back with a notebook and pen. She helped Naya write down everything she remembered about that night, what Patricia said, how she grabbed her arm, the push, and the whispered threat afterward. "Now, honey, I'm going to call a friend of mine who works with children in situations like this. Her name is Ms. Johnson, and she helps kids who are being hurt at home." Naya felt scared again. "Will I get in trouble for telling?" "No, baby. You're not the one who did something wrong. Patricia is the adult, and adults are supposed to protect children, not hurt them." Mrs. Grace made the phone call while Naya waited nervously. She could hear Mrs. Grace explaining the situation in a serious, quiet voice. When she hung up, she came back to sit with Naya. "Miss Johnson is going to come talk to us in about an hour. She's also going to contact the police, but don't be scared. They're going to help make sure you're safe." "What about Daddy? What will he think?" "Your daddy is going to be upset, but not at you. He's going to be angry that someone hurt his little girl. And he's going to want to protect you." They sat together on the porch, waiting. Mrs. Grace told Naya stories about her mama, how brave and kind she was, how she always stood up for what was right. "Your mama would be so proud of you for telling the truth," Mrs. Grace said. "It takes real strength to speak up when you're scared." When Patricia's car pulled into the driveway an hour later, there was already a police car parked on the street and a woman in a business suit sitting on Mrs. Grace's porch with them. Patricia got out of her car looking confused and angry. "What's going on here?" "Naya, I told you to stay inside and rest." Officer Denise Brown, a kind-faced African-American woman in uniform, stood up. "Mrs. Thompson, I'm Officer Brown. We need to talk to you about what happened to Naya on Tuesday night." Patricia's face went pale, but she tried to keep her composure. "I already told the doctors at the hospital." She fell down the stairs. "It was an accident." "Naya has told us a different story," said Ms. Johnson, the child services worker. "She says you pushed her." "That's ridiculous." Patricia's voice got high and shrill. "She's just a child. She's confused and probably still in shock from the fall." But Naya wasn't confused anymore. With Mrs. Grace holding her hand and the kind adults around her, she felt stronger than she had in days. "You pushed me," Naya said clearly, looking right at Patricia. "And you told me you made it look like an accident." Patricia's fake composure cracked completely. "You little liar. After everything I've done for you, this is how you repay me." "Ma'am, I need you to calm down," Officer Brown said firmly. Just then, Robert's truck pulled into the driveway. He got out and saw the police car, the strange woman, and his daughter sitting on the neighbor's porch with tears on her face. "What's going on here?" he demanded, rushing toward them. Officer Brown explained the situation while Robert's face went through the same emotions Mrs. Grace's had: confusion, shock, and then anger. "Patricia, tell me this isn't true," he said, his voice shaking. "Of course it's not true. Robert, you know I would never hurt Naya. She's making it up for attention." But as Robert looked at his daughter's face, really looked at her, he saw something he should have noticed before: fear. Naya was afraid of Patricia. "Baby girl," he said gently, kneeling down in front of her chair. "Tell me what really happened." With her daddy's loving eyes on her and Mrs. Grace's hand in hers, Naya told the whole truth. She told him about Patricia drinking, about the angry words, about the push and the fall and the whispered threat. Robert's face got darker and darker as she spoke. When she finished, he stood up and looked at Patricia with an expression Naya had never seen before. "Pack your things," he said quietly. "You're leaving my house tonight." "Robert, you can't believe this nonsense. I'm your wife." "You hurt my daughter," Robert said, his voice deadly calm. "There's nothing else to discuss." Officer Brown stepped forward. "Mrs. Thompson, you're going to need to come with me. We have some questions to ask you about Tuesday night." As Patricia was led away, protesting and crying, Robert scooped Naya up in his arms, being careful of her injured shoulder. "I'm sorry, baby girl," he whispered into her hair. "I'm so sorry I didn't protect you. That will never happen again." Naya felt something she hadn't felt since her mama died, completely safe and loved. "Thank you, Mrs. Grace," she said over her daddy's shoulder. Mrs. Grace smiled with tears in her eyes. "Thank you for being brave enough to tell the truth, sweetheart. Your mama is watching over you and she's so proud." 3 months later, Naya sat on the front porch swing, her arm completely healed and a genuine smile on her face for the first time in a long while. The legal proceedings were over. Patricia had been arrested and charged with child abuse. She had pleaded guilty and was now serving time in jail, along with mandatory counseling. But more importantly, Patricia was out of their lives forever. Robert had taken some time off work to spend with Naya, and they had started family therapy to help heal from what had happened. Dr. Martinez, their therapist, was helping them learn to talk to each other better and helping Robert understand the signs he had missed. "I was so focused on working and trying to make ends meet that I didn't see what was happening in my own house," Robert had said during one of their sessions. "I failed you, baby girl, and I'm sorry." "You didn't know, Daddy," Naya had replied. "Patricia was good at pretending when you were around." Now, as she sat on the swing reading a book for school, Naya heard footsteps on the porch steps. Mrs. Grace appeared, carrying 2 glasses of lemonade. "Thought you might be thirsty," Mrs. Grace said, settling down beside her. "Thank you, Mrs. Grace. You don't have to take care of me, though. I know you've got your own things to do." Mrs. Grace laughed, a warm sound that filled the afternoon air. "Child, taking care of people I love isn't work, it's joy. Besides, your daddy asked me something important yesterday." "What?" "He asked if I'd consider moving in with you too. Help out around the house. Make sure you're never alone with anyone who might hurt you again." Naya's face lit up. "Really? You'd want to live with us?" "Honey, I've been rattling around in that big house by myself for 10 years. It would be nice to have family around again. And you need someone who can braid your hair properly." Naya laughed and touched her hair, which Robert had been attempting to braid for months with limited success. "I'd love that, Mrs. Grace. But what would I call you? You're not really my grandmother, but you feel like family." Mrs. Grace's eyes got misty. "Your mama used to call me Aunt Grace when we were girls. Would you like to call me that?" "Aunt Grace." Naya tried out the name. It felt warm and right, like a hug in word form. Robert appeared in the doorway, still in his work clothes but smiling. "How are my 2 favorite ladies doing?" he asked. "Daddy, Aunt Grace told me about moving in with us." Robert grinned. "What do you think about that, baby girl?" "I think Mama sent her to us," Naya said seriously. "She always said angels come disguised as regular people." Robert's eyes filled with tears. He still missed his first wife every day, but he was learning to believe that she was watching over them, sending help when they needed it most. "I think you're right," he said, sitting down on the porch steps. "So what do you say, Grace? Will you officially become part of our family?" "I thought I already was," Grace replied with a smile. That evening, as the 3 of them sat on the porch watching the sunset, Naya felt a peace she hadn't experienced since her mama died. Her shoulder was healed, Patricia was gone, and she was surrounded by people who truly loved and protected her. "Daddy," she said suddenly, "I want to write a letter to other kids who might be in situations like mine." "What kind of letter?" "A letter telling them that it's okay to tell the truth, even when they're scared. That there are people who will believe them and help them." Robert and Grace exchanged a look over her head. Their little girl had not only survived something terrible, she had learned from it and wanted to help others. "I think that's a beautiful idea," Robert said. "We can talk to Dr. Martinez about how to do that safely. And maybe we can work with my friend Ms. Johnson," Grace added. "She knows lots of ways to help children who are going through hard times." As the stars started to appear in the darkening sky, Naya made a silent thank you to her mama. She had learned that telling the truth really did have power. The power to change everything, the power to bring help, and the power to make her family stronger than ever. "I love you, Daddy," she said, snuggling against his side. "I love you too, baby girl. More than all the stars in the sky." "And I love both of you," Grace added, putting her arm around them both. For the first time since her mama died, Naya fell asleep that night without any nightmares. She dreamed instead of her mama smiling down at them, proud of how brave her little girl had been and happy that she was finally safe and surrounded by love. 6 months later, Naya stood in front of a room full of social workers, police officers, and child advocates, reading the letter she had written. "My name is Naya Thompson, and I want to tell you that your voice matters," she read. "If someone is hurting you, even if they tell you no one will believe you, that's not true. There are people who care, people who will listen, and people who will help you be safe." In the audience, Robert wiped tears from his eyes as he watched his daughter turn her pain into purpose. Beside him, Grace beamed with pride. knowing that the scared little girl from that night on the stairs had grown into a brave young advocate for other children. After the presentation, a young boy about Naya's age approached her shyly. "Miss Naya," he said quietly, "I think I need to tell someone something too." Naya knelt down to his level and smiled. "Then let's find the right person to listen to you." As she took the boy's hand and led him to Ms. Johnson, Naya knew that this was just the beginning. Her mama had always said that good things could come from bad situations if you were brave enough to speak up and strong enough to help others. She was finally understanding what that meant.